Toy Story 3. Sheriff Woody was in the middle of another exciting adventure. First, he battled One-Eyed Bart on a runaway train, and then the evil Dr. Porkchop arrived in a spaceship. Luckily, Woody wasn't alone. Bullseye, the horse, and Jessie, the yodeling cowgirl, were at his side. At the last minute, Buzz Lightyear flew in to help save the day. When Andy was young, his imagination took his toys on many thrilling adventures. Andy loved his toys, and Woody, Buzz, Ham, Rex, and all the others loved him right back. For the toys, being played with, and being loved by, a kid was the best feeling in the world. But as Andy grew up, he played with his toys less and less. To get his attention, the toys took Andy's cell phone and hauled it into their toy box. Then Jessie called Andy's number from a different phone. The toys watched nervously as she pressed the buttons. Boop, 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 boop. When he heard the ring, Andy ran into the room. He reached into the toy box for his phone. "Hello?" he asked. No one answered. The toys held their breath. Would Andy see them and want to play? No. Instead, he rolled his eyes and closed the toy box. The toys' plan had failed. The toys were disappointed and worried. Andy was leaving for college in a few days. What would happen to them? Suddenly, Sarge saluted. He and his men were parachuting out of Andy's room. "When the trash bags come out, we Army guys are the first to go," said one soldier. Trash bags? The other toys started squeaking and shouting, terrified at the idea of being thrown out. "Hold on!" shouted Woody. He reminded them that Andy cared about all of his toys. They'd just been put into the attic, where they could all be together. "I'd better find my other eye," sighed Mrs. Potato Head. Someone was coming. It was Andy and his sister Molly and their mom. Molly was donating her toys to Sunnyside daycare, and Andy's mom wanted Andy to donate his too. Andy shook his head. "No one's going to want those old toys," he said. "They're junk." Andy's mom insisted he clean up before he left for college. So he started scooping his toys into a trash bag. But when he got to Woody and Buzz, he paused. They were his favorites. Andy looked back and forth at them, and then put Woody into a box marked college. Buzz went into the trash bag. Andy carried the bag into the hall and pulled down the ladder to the attic. Woody was relieved and planned to keep his toys after all. But when Molly called to Andy, he dropped the bag. A minute later, his mom took the bag away. She thought the toys were garbage. Andy's mom tossed the bag onto the sidewalk by the garbage cans. The toys began to panic. "There's got to be a way out," shouted Buzz, looking around desperately. They were running out of time. "I can hear the garbage truck," Rex cried. Watching from the window, Woody was frantic. He grabbed a pair of scissors, climbed out of the window, and raced to the pile of trash. He sliced open one bag after another. Where were his friends? Just then, Woody saw his friends in the garage. They had escaped, but the toys were very upset. They thought Andy had thrown them away. "Like we were garbage," shouted Ham. Jessie had a plan, though. They would get into the box Andy's mom was taking to Sunnyside daycare. Woody explained that it was all a mistake, but the toys weren't convinced. As the car headed towards Sunnyside, Woody told his friends that daycare would be a sad, lonely place. But instead, Sunnyside looked cheerful and happy. There were lots of children playing outside. The toys were so excited. Maybe they'd get played with again. The toys were placed in a classroom full of other toys. "Welcome to Sunnyside," a big pink bear called warmly. "I'm Lotso Huggin' Bear, but please call me Lotso." The toys were happy to see a friendly face. "Mr. Lotso," asked Rex, "do toys here get played with every day?" "All day long, 5 days a week," Lotso replied. Even better, the toys would never be outgrown or neglected. To Andy's toys, Sunnyside sounded like a dream come true. "Now let's get you all settled in," Lotso said. He gave them a tour of the daycare center and then led them to their new home, the caterpillar room. Andy's toys were thrilled. But one toy wasn't completely won over by Sunnyside. Woody felt they were still Andy's toys, and Sunnyside wasn't home. "We can have a new life here, Woody," Jessie argued. "A chance to make kids happy again." Finally, Woody walked away all by himself. Woody slipped out of the caterpillar room and jumped onto a janitor's cart. Then he climbed out a bathroom window and up onto the roof. Now what? Luckily, Woody spotted an old kite on the roof. Holding it above his head, he leaped into the air and flew out over the playground. Woody sailed over the playground, but then the kite snapped. The cowboy tumbled down into a tree. His hat fell to the ground, and his pull string caught on a branch. Just then, a little girl named Bonnie spotted him. She freed Woody and put him into her backpack. Woody was safe, but he still needed to find Andy. Back in the caterpillar room, a crowd of energetic toddlers burst into the room and grabbed Andy's toys. The children were happy, but the toys were terrified. These little kids played rough. When a toddler threw him next to a window, Buzz was able to see into the butterfly room next door. In that room, older kids were played gently with Lotso and other toys. Buzz and his friends belonged in there, not in the caterpillar room. Meanwhile, Woody was actually having fun at Bonnie's house. She was an imaginative little girl who immediately included Woody in her games of make-believe. It was fun, and her toys were nice, but Woody still wanted to go home to Andy. Back at Sunnyside, the toys were exhausted and sore. Buzz decided to talk to Lotso about being moved to the big kids' room, but the doors and windows were locked. They were trapped. At last, Buzz escaped through a window and found Lotso's crew. They were talking about Andy's toys. "We'll be lucky if they last us a week," said a toy named Twitch. Buzz whirled around, anxious to warn his friends, and ran right into a gigantic doll named Big Baby. Meanwhile, in the caterpillar room, Mrs. Potato had gasped. She could see into Andy's room through the eye she had accidentally left behind. "Andy's looking for us," she cried. The toys realized Woody had been right. They needed to get home to Andy. Down the hall, Lotso told Buzz that he wanted Andy's toys to stay in the caterpillar room forever. The little kids needed to play with them, and Lotso didn't want to be in there. When Buzz got angry, Lotso's gang tied him to a chair. Buzz couldn't escape. When Lotso entered the caterpillar room, Andy's toys thought he would help them. But Lotso snarled, "You ain't leaving Sunnyside. Suddenly Buzz appeared, but he was acting strangely. Lotso had switched him back to his original factory setting, but thought he was a space ranger and that Andy's toys were his prisoners. Lotso's gang locked Andy's toys into storage cubbies. Lotso warned them that they had to live by his rules or else. As Lotso left the room, Buzz saluted him and then turned to glare at his horrified prisoners. At Bonnie's house, Woody met an old clown toy named Chuckles, who knew Lotso. Long ago, Chuckles, Lotso, and Big Baby had belonged to a little girl named Daisy. On a trip, Daisy lost her toys. When the three finally found their way home, Daisy was holding a new bear. Lotso was heartbroken. After that, he became hard and cruel. The next morning, Woody stowed away in Bonnie's backpack when she left for Sunnyside. After Bonnie hung up her backpack, Woody crawled out and sneaked over to the caterpillar room. Woody's friends were overjoyed to see him. They handed his hat back to him with relieved smiles. "From now on, we stick together," Woody said, pointing out the window. He told them his plan. The trash chute would be their route out of Sunnyside. That night, the toys made their escape. Woody and Slinky snatched the daycare master key. Mr. Potato Head tossed his removable parts outside, where they attached themselves to a leftover tortilla, so he could keep a lookout. As the other toys ran into the yard, Rex and Ham tried to reset Buzz. Suddenly, Buzz beeped and began speaking Spanish. When he saw Jessie, he gasped. "Mi florecita del desierto," he declared romantically. In the playground, the friends crept past Big Baby. Soon, they were joined by Mr. Potato Head, who put himself back together as quickly as he could. Together, they all headed toward the trash chute. After sliding down the chute, Andy's toys landed by an open dumpster. Slinky stretched himself so everyone could come across. But then Lotso stepped into view, grinning nastily. He kicked Slinky's paws off the edge. Lotso reminded the toys that Andy had thrown them away. "There isn't one kid who ever loved a toy," he sneered, but Woody called out that Daisy had loved Lotso. He held up a pendant that Chuckles had given him. It had once belonged to Big Baby. It read, "My heart belongs to Daisy." Big Baby's eyes filled with tears as he remembered his beloved Daisy. Cruelly, Lotso taunted the doll for crying. Furious, Big Baby threw Lotso into the dumpster and slammed the lid. Then he smiled. The toys could hear a garbage truck approaching. As they hurried across the lid of the dumpster, Lotso reached up from inside and grabbed an alien toy. The gang tried to help, but it was too late. Everyone, including Lotso, tumbled into the back of the garbage truck. Inside the truck, Woody yelled for everyone to get against the wall. Another load of garbage was coming in. Moving fast, Buzz saved Jessie but got hit by a falling TV. The bump knocked him out of Spanish mode. Buzz was himself again. At the trash center, the toys were dumped out of the truck. As they struggled in a tide of smelly garbage, they saw a huge crane in the distance. "The claw!" shouted the aliens. Woody couldn't stop them from toddling excitedly toward it. Suddenly, a big magnet began pulling metal from the trash. Slinky was pulled up first, and he could see that his friends were heading toward a giant shredder. Everyone grabbed pieces of metal so they were pulled up too. "Help!" a voice called. It was Lotso. He was stuck. Woody and Buzz worked hard to pull him to safety. Lotso thanked Woody for not leaving him behind. "We're all in this together," replied Woody. Unfortunately, they were now headed toward an incinerator. The toys boosted Lotso up to an emergency stop button, but the bear refused to push it. Instead of saving the toys, he ran away. Terrified, the toys tumbled toward the fiery blaze. They held hands together to the end. Suddenly, a giant crane dropped down and scooped them from the flames. The aliens were at the crane's controls. "The claw!" they cried happily. "Come on, Woody," said Jessie. "We've got to get you home." The toys caught a ride on the garbage truck. Meanwhile, another truck driver found Lotso. The pink bear had a new home, and he hated it. Woody and the gang arrived at Andy's house just as Andy was preparing to leave for college. After hosing themselves off in the yard, the toys sneaked inside. They were home. As the other toys climbed into the box marked attic, Woody and Buzz shook hands. After so many adventures together, they couldn't believe they were parting. "You know where to find us, cowboy," Buzz said. From the college box, Woody watched Andy and his mom say goodbye. He knew that he and Andy shared many memories too. They'd never really lose each other. Suddenly, Woody knew what to do. He scribbled something on a sticky note, then stuck it on the attic box. When Andy returned, he was thrilled to see the toys he thought were lost. But he paused when he read the note. Finally, Andy loaded the box into his car and drove to the address that was on the sticky note. It was Bonnie's house. Andy introduced each toy of his to Bonnie, and at the bottom of the box there was Sheriff Woody. "My cowboy!" Bonnie exclaimed. When Andy saw how much Bonnie loved Woody, he decided to give her his favorite toy too. Then Andy played with Bonnie and his old toys. The toys loved having one last playtime with Andy. "Bye, guys," Andy said quietly as he started his car. Bonnie ran inside, leaving the toys to watch Andy drive away. "So long, partner," Woody said. Buzz put his arm around Woody. Yes, their life with Andy was ending, but their adventures with Bonnie had just begun. The end.